Hi, my name is Mark Rickinson, Director of the Monash QURE project. We'll start off with a bit of background about what it is, why it's needed, and how it was developed. And then we'll talk briefly about its different components. So in terms of what it is, the QURE Framework aims to define and elaborate what quality use of research evidence, or using research well, means in education. But why is that needed? Well, it's important because there are lots of frameworks that define the quality of evidence. So there are many different evidence standards, evidence hierarchies, but very few that define the quality of use. So this is about moving the focus from the quality of the evidence to the quality of the use by creating a framework that helps educators, school leaders, system leaders and others to better understand what is involved in using research well. The framework was developed by the Monash QURE project team through a systematic review and narrative synthesis of relevant literature from health, social care, policy and education, the insights from which then informed the development of the QURE framework through a series of successive iterations of the framework with lots of stakeholder feedback. Okay, so now we know what it is, why it matters, how it was developed. Let's take a look briefly at the components of the QURE framework. The framework defines quality use as thoughtful engagement with and implementation of appropriate research evidence. So if we look at this visually, we can see that quality use of research involves two core components right at the red centre. And these are about aspirations for the research evidence to be appropriate and for the engagement and implementation to be thoughtful. So appropriate is about how research needs to be not just methodologically rigorous, but also appropriate for the context and the issue at hand and the intended use. And thoughtful is about the idea that research doesn't tell us what to do. It's a resource for thinking. So we need to actively make sense of it and work out if and how we might use it in our context. And then surrounding that in blue are the three individual enabling components. And these highlight how research use involves not only skills and knowledge, skill sets, but also attitudes and dispositions, mindsets, and social interaction and collaboration, relationships. So using research well is not just technical, it's also emotional and relational. Then in orange, we've got the three organizational enabling components, which emphasize how quality use doesn't happen in a vacuum, but requires supportive leadership, supportive culture, and supportive infrastructure. And finally, all of this can also be shaped by system-level influences in green that are critical for encouraging and enabling research engagement within and across schools. So in summary, the QURE framework is a tool to help educators and leaders to better understand what using research well in education means and involves. Its value, though, will depend on whether and how it's used by real-life educators like yourselves. So it's over to you and onwards and upwards.